You're welcome back to the conversation on New Central Television. With our switch gears to the Liberian presidential elections. Liberia's President George Weah's re-election campaign ended in violence with clashes between his supporters and opposition in Monrovia. While an official casualty count is unavailable, at least 5 men sustained injuries during the scuffles. Supporters of George Weah's CDC and opposition ALCOP members threw stones at each other, prompting police to use tear gas, despite pledges of peaceful elections by the main parties. Recent clashes have raised concerns due to Liberia's history of civil wars, which claimed over 250,000 lives. Peace and development are key concerns for voters as they prepare for the first round of voting tomorrow. To win, a candidate must secure at least 50% plus one of the votes cast. If no party reaches this threshold, the top 2 parties in the first round will proceed to a runoff election decided by a simple majority. President Weah, competing against 19 other presidential candidates, held a large rally in the capital, Monrovia, on Sunday, emphasizing the importance of peace and development. Critics argue that he has not fulfilled his promises to create jobs and invest in education. And other developments, the West African Elders Forum has deployed an election observer mission to Liberia for the country's 2023 general election. The election is scheduled for October the 10th. Now, joining me this evening on the conversation is Professor Adam Kyne, as an international human rights advocate. He joins us from Liberia's capital, Monrovia. We also have Cholo Brooks, publisher, Global News Network, Liberia. One welcome to you, gentlemen, and thanks for joining me on the conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Yes, I'd like to start with Professor Adam Kyne. Now, Professor Kyne, as we inch towards less than 24 hours to the general elections, could you give us an analysis of the underlying causes of the violence that marred President George Weah's re-election campaign in Liberia's capital, Monrovia, and what's the general atmosphere like in the country with regards to tomorrow's elections? Is there a sense of peace, or there's palpable tension in the air?
Well, thank you again for this opportunity to share to the world what is currently going on here in Liberia. At the moment, due to the attention of political campaign, by attention I mean or having all of the different political party engaged in the street of Monrovia, and I think yesterday there was some sense of violence, and in time past there was some form of violence. I think what it has done to Liberia at the moment, it has created what I would term as election anxiety, characterized by fear. And by that, what I mean is, I think everyone now is anxious, just willing for tomorrow to just pass, so that we can begin a normal reality, because these elections have created a sense of animosity amongst Liberians, has created a great divide. And many people are praying that tomorrow there won't be any form of hostility. So people are purchasing rice and other food to store just in case. But I'm hoping, and we are hoping, with great prayer and advocacy, that there will be no sense of violence, no sense of hostility tomorrow. But like I said again, there is what I would term as election anxiety, characterized by some sense of fear at the moment of the unknown uncertainty of what's going to happen tomorrow.
Thank you, Professor Kyne. I'd like to bring in Cholo Brooks into the conversation. Now, Mr. Brooks, what factors may have contributed to the scuffles and clashes between supporters of President Weah's Coalition for Democratic Change and members of the opposition during the campaign parade? Has there been any previous animosity between these 2 groups?
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. Liberians are concerned. Liberians are concerned of yesterday's incident, and that is not the first time. Some time ago, in Lofa, it happens, and then also we understand it happened sometime at the ELWA junction. But Liberians are so concerned. Liberians wishing to vote on tomorrow. They are anxious to vote, and What they're saying, even the international community, the observers that are here, they're telling Liberians to be calm and to be peaceful during these elections. So Liberians are so anxious. Liberia will go to the poll tomorrow. Many of those I spoke to this afternoon said that they are willing to go and stand in a long queue to vote because as far as they are concerned, the election must go on. I don't care what happened. They decided to put their differences to apart and then go to the poll to vote.
Professor Kyne, both major political parties in the Liberian presidential elections have pledged peaceful polls. Why do you think there's still incidents of violence leading up to the election? And also, to add to this, the United Nations expressed concerns over reported instances of election-related violence and hate speech. What measures do you believe should be taken to mitigate these issues and ensure peaceful electoral process?
Well, I think one of the greatest indication is to let the Liberian people know that at the moment, we are all Liberians, apart from our political ideology and our political parties, that at the end of this moment that will be going on, that we are all Liberian. And Liberians should understand that a political ideology or party should not create a sense of animosity amongst us to the extent where we engage in violence or engage in any sense of hurting somebody for a politician. So I think it is very essential that these messages be sent across. And I have had the privilege of speaking with some of my friends in the United States who serve in Congress. They are also telling us that they are very meticulous and fixated on the Liberian electoral process. And so they are paying attention. And so they are really focused on Liberia, making sure that there's no one that will disrupt the electoral process by any means. Matter of fact, the United States Embassy issue their stand relative to anyone who disrupt or may engage in anything that will be fraudulent or cause the hampering of the peace in Liberia, that there will be restriction, visa restriction, and not only visa restriction, but there will be sanction on the person and their family. So I think that is a sense of hope that the international community is also concerned about the peace in Liberia. But I think the most significant of all is that the peace of Liberia is in our hand, Liberians. So if we do not maintain that peace and allow political ideology or the political parties' experiences to divide us, then that would be a serious problem. And we're praying again, like I said, and advocating to the best of our ability to inform the Liberian people that this is just a democratic process and it must not be fueled by animosity and violence that will disrupt the peace that have been maintained all these long periods. And so those are our messages that we are sending abroad to the Liberian people.
Now, Professor Kyne, quickly before I move on to George Cholo Brooks, looking at the campaign period and the debates that have happened amongst the 20 presidential candidates, would you say they have really touched on the issues? Has it been a issue-based campaign? Have they really touched on the issues that Liberians want them to speak about? Or has it been politics of ethnicity or personality politics? How would you rate the campaign exercise?
Well, I've been exposed to a lot of presidential debates in the past from the West and other areas around the world. And I think here in Liberia, I did not witness any major debate, presidential debate, where the platform, political platform will be submitted so that others can hear whether you are for or against, that you can be convinced relative to the presentation that was made. But there was not a major political debate that went on in the country. So I think when I look from my analysis, I think what I see is that people are driven based upon whatever emotion or whatever political desire that they want to vote. So I don't see where issues have been actually discussed, issues been actually debated, so that the entire Liberian can witness the two-party or different party discuss their platform. So it has just been left with a sense of what I desire. If I'm part of a political party based upon probably my construct or my consciousness or my liking. And so it is not, I don't think there is any ideological presentation that will draw the attention of others, but I think we just voted based on the political, emotional experiences or connection that I have with whatever parties. So that's what I see in Liberia, because I've been in the United States and I've seen what a debate look like, what presidential debate, where people come up with their ideology, and after which mindsets are changed and mindsets are driven, even if you're a Democrat or Republican, based upon the platform that's been sold out to the public, then people will respond. But I do not see that here. I think we're just driven by emotions and driven by whatever connection I have. So I think that's what I see in Liberia at the moment.
Thank you, Professor Kyne. Now, Cholo Brooks, in less than 24 hours, Liberians will be going to the polls to elect a president. What do you think, or what are the issues in the front burner for the 2.4 million registered Liberian voters? What is priority to them? What do they want the new government or the incumbent to fix?
Yeah, as you said, Liberians are going to the poll tomorrow to vote. Many of them have their own plans and whatsoever. But what I noticed myself as a journalist is that Liberians will vote tomorrow, what we call protest vote, because they are saying the current president, the incumbent, has not done anything much, especially when it comes to the issue of addressing corruption, the issue of going to legal counties, building roads, because he called himself he called himself a road maker anyway. He called himself road maker. And then a lot of people are saying Mr. Weah has not done that much to satisfy the people in the urban area and the rural area. So tomorrow, Liberians are going out there to vote, and they consider their vote as protest vote. The candidate who is almost close to Weah, Gbenga, people are saying, even though Gbenga has his own problem, but they are voting because Weah has not come to do what he said he will have done. So these are the issues Liberians are concentrating on tomorrow to vote and vote for the right person they think they should vote for.
Thank you, Joe Brooks. Now, Professor Kyne, could you elaborate on the voting process in Liberia and the threshold a candidate needs to meet in order to win in the first round of voting? And also, President Weah is facing 19 presidential candidates. What are some of the key issues and challenges that President Weah, who described himself as a road maker, encountered during his time in office that might influence voters' decisions tomorrow?
Well, I think the electoral process in Liberia has been set to an extent where a presidential candidate, I think, must win by 50-something percent, 51% of vote, then I think that person will be declared a winner. And the process, again, is setting a way that people will, of course, register, have your registration card, and show up at the various polling station to vote. And I think that is the process. But again, just to add on, the electoral process in Liberia, I think we are anticipating it should be free and fair. We anticipate that there should be a free and fair election, and not only free and fair, but that people should have the rights to attend to their legal rights to vote, and that they should not be disrupted on tomorrow. I think those are things that we will be looking at as advocates to make sure that no one rights is manipulated or no one rights is deprived at the voting areas. So yes, so those are some of the constitutional provision that once you reach 51%, I think then you've been declared winner of the Liberian presidency.
Now, your assessment of President Weah's presidency, in what areas did he perform, and what are the gray areas? What do you think the electorates will be looking out for? Because in Africa, there's always that advantage of the power of incumbency.
Well, my analysis of the presidency in Liberia, if I were to look at George Weah and make some form of analysis, I think Liberia, again, is still in the process of becoming what it should be relative to presidential leadership. I think we are anticipating more than just what we have experienced over the years, that Liberia deserved a country that is free from corruption. We deserve a country that education is prioritized. We deserve a country that put healthcare ahead of everything else, and we deserve a country where people will at least be lifted from this lower war experience to a higher place where we can gain some level of equality with other West African country. I think it has been difficult relative to the leadership within the country, but I think there needs to be a shift where Liberia is prioritized, loved by the leader, and that persecution methods are put into place for those who will be engaged in corruption. And I think Liberia's major problem is corruption. If we can, whoever becomes the president the next time, I think corruption should be the primary objectives. Besides corruption, there should be some sense of unity, because I think there is a great divide here in Liberia as a result of these political campaigns and the electoral process. So whoever becomes the president should prioritize, even if George Weah were to, or Joseph Newman becomes the president. I think my advocacy is that they should prioritize unifying the entire country, because I think Liberians are bitter. And I'm also concentrating on looking at the post-election trauma. Post-election trauma might be something that might affect the country, especially the population, due to the animosity. And if we have a president that will come and not say, I am a president now for a political party, but now I'm the president of the Republic of Liberia, it is time to unify the entire country and reconcile whatever political animosity or breach that have been created or gap that has been created. I think that would do well. But I think, like I said again, corruption is one of the major concerns in Liberia, and that needs to be eradicated. If that is eradicated, then Liberia will move from where we are to another level that we desire. That's just
okay. Thank you, Professor Kyne. Now, Cholo Brooks, what are the main policy differences, if there exist, or platforms between President Weah's CDC and the opposition ALCOP that could sway voters one way or the other?
Well, I'm sorry, very thin. I can't get you too clear. I don't know. Can you repeat the question?
I said there are ideological differences between George Weah's CDC party and the opposition ALCOP that could sway voters one way or the other. What's the major difference?
Well, from my own observation, I think Weah came to power with massive support, especially during the early days of the 2017. And then people felt that, oh, we are winning series of a war internationally, we'll do better. But then now, for the 6 year already gone, Liberians are saying they have not received, or they are not saying they have not seen anything as regarding the improvement of the situation, the living condition of the people. And then again, what people are saying, like I said earlier, they are looking at the issue of fighting corruption. They said Mr. Weah has not done anything of such. And they are hoping again that maybe different will be made when he either re-elected or someone who is coming in will do better. Because one of the issues, fighting corruption and the abuse of power, the killing, the innocent killing, the less innocent killing of people, up to now, the government has not even come under President Weah to prosecute those who allegedly involved in all of these crimes. So Liberians are saying they hope, even if Mr. Weah is re-elected, they hope that he make the difference after his election.
Thank you. Now, back to you, Professor Kyne. Are there any concerns about the potential of a runoff election if no candidate secures the required 50% plus one of the votes in the first round? And also, there'll be 20 names on the ballot tomorrow. That's quite a lot from what people are generally used to. Do you think, in hindsight, that some of this candidates should have formed a coalition. And what would be the electoral impact of having such a large number of candidates on the ballot? Would he work in favor of the opposition or the incumbent President Weah?
The previous election, I think, was won as a result of a coalition. So there is, in order to win an election in Liberia, there must be a coalition. But there is a change in trajectory relative to what we have seen during these political campaigns. I think at the moment there are two parties that stand at the edge of that competition. I'm not sure of the 20 plus political parties besides the ANC, which come close to the two political parties, CDC and UP. There might be, the fight will be between two political parties.
So the others are just there to make up the numbers?
Yeah, but should there be a moment where we have to go for second turn? I think there where the two parties would be intentional in calling on other political parties to join them based upon ideology or based upon whatever the case is. But it's usually the case that opposition will usually galvanize themselves against the incumbent all the time. But we don't know because what we've seen, CDC have taken some of the opposition and they have joined CDC. And so there is, again, is a new political experience that we are having here in Liberia. So we don't know what it will be like, but we are hoping that we don't have to go for second round. I think that all the political parties should join in and just vote and we just be done with this thing, because right now there is, again, like I said, an election anxiety characterized by fear. And we don't want this to extend again to November. I think I think they should make the decision so that people don't get into, again, another political fears here.
Thank you, Professor Adam Kyne. And finally, Cholo Brooks, as we wrap up conversation, what's your assessment of the National Electoral Commission of Liberia? How confident are you in the electoral umpire to conduct free and fair elections tomorrow?
Well, the Election Commission has given the assurance that there will be a free and fair election. In fact, with the international community also calling on the Election Commission to conduct the election with all integrity, and then they want the national election to make sure that there won't be anything that will cause violence like as was done over the previous days. So I hope also the National Election Commission will do its best to make sure that Liberia will have an election that will be free of violence and other intimidations.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Professor Adam M. Kyne, international human rights advocate, who joined us live from Monrovia in Liberia, and Cholo Brooks, publisher, Global News Network in Liberia. It was a pleasure having you both. I do appreciate your insights and contribution to the program. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And we wish the good people of Liberia a peaceful election process tomorrow. This is where we drop the anchor on today's program. In the first half of the show, we did look at the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, suing the Senate President and other senators who were previous governors for double emolument. And we just concluded our conversation on the upcoming elections in Liberia tomorrow. Thanks for being a part of the program. I am Gbenga Aborowa. See you next time. Bye-bye.